If you're trying to lose weight, the very last thing that you want to do is mess it up first thing in the morning. And unfortunately, there's no shortage of wrong misinformation out there on a range of morning topics like what to eat to speed up your metabolism, or whether a mandatory breakfast is required, or if you should work out on an empty stomach every morning. With that said, it's easy to understand why you're probably making at least a couple of these mistakes every morning that might be stopping you from losing as much weight as you can. So today I want to give you a definitive list of 10 morning habits that are preventing weight loss. By learning what these are and by making some easy changes to your morning routine, you can lose weight faster with less road bumps along your way. And I want to start with one of the most obvious that many of you probably already know. Eating traditional breakfast foods in the morning is a surefire way to gain weight instead of losing it. What do I mean by traditional breakfast foods? Well, I'm talking about things like cereal, bagels, Pop-Tarts, pancakes, waffles, and muffins. These foods are all very high in either refined flour, sugar, or both. Not only is a diet high in refined flour and sugar linked to obesity, it's also linked to insulin resistance and diabetes. When you spike your blood sugar and your insulin levels every morning with foods like this, you make weight loss virtually impossible. Now, I'm not saying that you can't eat carbs for breakfast. You can definitely do that, but stick to carb sources that are not processed and that come from single ingredient foods. Things like oatmeal, Ezekiel bread, and fruit will serve you much better. You'll get fuller faster from the high fiber content of these real foods. You won't have a dramatic spike in insulin levels, and you won't feel the desire to eat more. And that actually leads me right into another morning habit that prevents weight loss. I'm talking about impulse eating. And this is a habit that's linked directly to eating processed and refined foods. When you eat foods like the traditional breakfast foods that we just talked about, as well as other foods that contain things like high fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors, additives, sugar, and flavor enhancers, they all trick your brain and actually become addicting. These artificial flavors and excessive amounts of sugar get your taste buds used to a crazy amount of stimulation. And then with real food like fruit and cinnamon flavored oatmeal, it becomes impossible to match the dopamine release that you would get from the unnatural sources that are full of added sugar. Also, like I already said, these processed foods will spike your blood sugar temporarily, only to be followed by a crash. When your blood sugar comes crashing back down, you're gonna feel really hungry for more of those same bad foods that got you into trouble to begin with. This vicious cycle creates a full day of impulse eating led by the reward center of your brain seeking its fix, ultimately making you even more hooked on junk and processed foods. Luckily, you could reset your palate by staying away from these addicting ingredients for a consistent period of time. Start by concentrating on staying away from these foods for just 3 days. Just after 3 days, you'll appreciate real healthy food much more, and after a few weeks, your desire for bad food will diminish significantly. The next morning habit that you want to avoid is force-feeding yourself breakfast. It seems like most trainers, nutritionists, and most people in general believe that one of the worst things you can do for weight loss is skip breakfast. This is based on the idea that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and without it, you delay starting your metabolism, and you potentially risk entering the dreaded starvation mode. Some people believe so strongly in this "you must eat breakfast" philosophy that they would rather have you eat something bad like a bagel or a muffin rather than not eating anything at all. This is completely wrong. First of all, your body works off of totals. It doesn't matter when you get those totals in for the day. There is no such thing as starting your metabolism. Your metabolism continues running all night at a slower pace while you sleep because you're lying still doing nothing while you sleep. As soon as you wake up, get out of bed, and start moving around, your metabolism already increases. It is true that having breakfast will temporarily increase your metabolism, but that's simply due to the energy costs of digesting food. Meaning, any meal will temporarily increase your metabolism, but you will wind up taking in much more calories than you burn during digestion. And finally, the starvation mode that we've all been taught to fear is known as adaptive thermogenesis, and it is your body's natural response to a decreased total daily intake of calories. Again, this means that no matter what you do, if you cut your calories to lose weight, you will also slow your metabolism. Breakfast has no impact one way or the other. So here's the bottom line. If you simply don't like breakfast, there is no point of forcing down calories that are just going to take away from the total amount of food that you can eat for the day when you are actually feeling hungry. Or let's say if one day you don't feel like eating breakfast, then just don't. If this leads you to pigging out for lunchtime or for dinner, then maybe you should incorporate breakfast. But there is no set rule that having breakfast will somehow help everyone lose weight. In fact, a lot of people can lose more weight by skipping breakfast. Since we're talking about breakfast, let's move on to a breakfast favorite, coffee. Now, coffee itself is harmless for weight loss, and it can even help you lose a couple extra pounds. The problem is what you're adding to your coffee every morning that could potentially hurt your weight loss efforts. By adding in cream, sugar, and a variety of other flavors, you can be spiking your insulin levels, and you'll be adding a bunch of extra calories throughout the day as you drink cup after cup of coffee. People will also many times get frappuccinos, mochas, and culottes that can knock the calorie count of one of these coffees all the way up to 800 calories. Compare that to the tiny 10 to 20 calories you get from a 32-ounce black iced coffee. It's understandable that a lot of people don't want to drink black coffee, so use cinnamon, stevia, and vanilla extract to increase the sweetness and the taste without increasing calories. The next bad morning habit is hitting the snooze button when you've already planned a workout and you know you should get out of your bed, put your sneakers on, and go exercise. Now make no mistake, it's not required that you work out first thing in the morning, but for many people, exercising first thing in the morning is the only way to ensure that it actually gets done. Not only do distractions come up later on in the day, but you're also usually more tired and you begin to procrastinate. By working out first thing in the morning, a couple things happen. Number one, you get your workout done and out of the way before you've had the chance to start procrastinating. Number two, you feel more energized and more motivated to take on the rest of your day. And number three, you're creating forward momentum and you're encouraging a positive mindset because you did what you said you were gonna do. Every morning that you refuse to work out and you push it off until later, it makes it that much easier to do the same thing again later. If you have a good nighttime routine that you can stick to, then keep doing that. But if you're like most people that dread exercising after a long day, then make it a habit to ensure that you get your workout done first thing in the morning. The next bad morning habit is not planning ahead and not preparing your own food for breakfast and for lunch. Once you leave the house, you'll be bombarded by a bunch of terrible food choices. And if you get hungry, you may find yourself at a drive-thru ordering some so-called healthy option. Even if you choose healthy food at a high-quality restaurant, you have to remember that the way these places stay in business is by stimulating your taste buds in a way that brings you back. They'll add oil, sugar, and breading to your food without you even realizing it. If you're serious about losing weight and you want it off fast, then make sure you plan your day ahead of time and meal prep accordingly. Another bad morning habit is the impulse to weigh yourself on the scale every single day. When you weigh yourself every single day, it becomes an obsession that's based on an inaccurate system of measurement. What I mean is that your weight will fluctuate from day to day. So even though you may have lost some body fat, the scale may show you that you're heavier because on that day you happen to be holding some extra water weight. I've seen some of my clients ruin their entire day. They get depressed and binge eat just because of the fact that they were weighing themselves way too often. The flip side that's equally as bad is never weighing yourself at all, because then you're never really measuring your progress at all. I recommend weighing yourself once a week on the same day at the same time of day. And even with this, you have to keep an open mind to the fact that your weight will fluctuate, which is why you should also be checking your progress in the mirror and also based on how your clothes are fitting. The next morning mistake is not sleeping in long enough, and it turns out it's just as bad to oversleep. When you don't sleep enough, studies show that your impulse control goes down, your hunger hormones go up, and you'll find yourself grazing throughout the day just to stay awake. After a couple nights of not sleeping enough, your fat burning and muscle building hormones will also be very negatively affected. On the other hand, studies have also shown that sleeping more than 10 hours a night up the risk of having a higher BMI. Researchers seem to agree that the sweet spot you want to aim for is 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Another morning habit that prevents a lot of people from losing weight is drinking anything other than water and low-calorie coffee. If you're not drinking coffee or tea, you should be drinking water because water is going to help fill you up and it has no calories. For many people, breakfast time is when you kick back a glass of orange juice, fruit punch, or sweetened iced tea. These drinks will add on hundreds of calories of pretty much pure sugar and will make you crave more sweet drinks throughout the day. The worst part is that none of them quench your thirst the way that water would, so you wind up feeling thirsty, leading you to drinking more. This ends up costing you tons of excess calories that could have easily been avoided. Even if you normally drink things like Coca-Cola, vitamin water, sweet tea, or Gatorade, just by switching to water for a few days, you'll already begin to lose your cravings for these sweet drinks. The last bad morning habit that I want to go over is stress. A lot of people spend their entire morning stressing about what's going to happen throughout their day. And the truth is that a lot of these worries never really come true in reality. So you wind up wasting your energy on thoughts and ideas that aren't even real. Stress causes cortisol levels to go up in your body, and cortisol can make it harder to build muscle, it can slow your metabolism, increase your food cravings, and when you're in a constant state of stress, it becomes much more difficult to lose unwanted pounds. To lower stress, try to first identify the trigger and, if possible, eliminate that trigger. If that's not possible, then you could use methods like focusing your attention only on things that are actually in your control. Short meditation sessions work great as well, and breathing exercises throughout the day can really help lower stress. Getting enough sleep, as I talked about earlier, can greatly help with stress reduction as well. That's it, guys. I really hope this video has helped you out. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you subscribe to my channel where you can find more free tips just like this. And if you're looking to lose the pounds fast with a guaranteed approach that's proven to work, try my 6-week challenge where on average my clients are losing 20 pounds or 5% of their body fat in just 6 weeks. You'll get a customized meal plan based on your preferences, a 42-day workout plan, as well as an accountability coach to mentor and guide you through the entire process. Most weight loss studies unanimously agree that the most difficult part of losing weight is actually sticking to the plan. So what we've done is we've given everybody the opportunity to get this challenge for free just by actually committing to stick to the plan from day 1 to day 42. To find out more, you can click the link below, or you could visit my website directly at gravitytransformation.com. See you guys soon.
Pump it.